Hello, America. This is JOC, bringing you this afternoon's hottest headlines on Ranting Politics headline updates. We've got a quick show that'll make your head spin faster than a politician's stance on election year. Coming up, the Trump administration is taking the gloves off with a massive lawsuit against sanctuary cities, and boy, our new Attorney General Pam Bondi isn't pulling any punches. Then, Ukraine's Zelensky drops a nuclear-sized bombshell in negotiations that's got everyone talking. And if that's not enough to raise your eyebrows, wait until you hear about the latest Chinese AI company that's got security experts sounding all kinds of alarms. Buckle up, folks. This is going to be one wild ride through today's political circus. In a bold move that's shaking up the immigration enforcement landscape, the Trump administration has just dropped a legal bombshell on Illinois, Cook County, and the city of Chicago. The Department of Justice isn't just filing papers, they're declaring war on sanctuary policies, and they're making it crystal clear this is just the opening salvo. The lawsuit takes direct aim at local laws that the DOJ claims are basically putting up roadblocks for immigration and customs enforcement. We're talking about the Chicago Welcoming Ordinance and the Illinois Trust Act, laws that essentially tell federal immigration officials thanks, but no thanks, when it comes to cooperation. Now, here's where it gets interesting. These local laws are telling their officers they can't arrest or detain someone just because they might be in the country illegally. The feds are saying this is a direct slap in the face to federal law, which requires states and local governments to play ball when it comes to sharing immigration information. And folks, this isn't just some random timing. This lawsuit dropped on Attorney General Pam Bondi's first day on the job, and she came out swinging like a heavyweight champion. In her own words to sanctuary city leaders across the country, "You will be next." Talk about making an entrance. Bondi didn't mince words when she declared that Illinois and Chicago have been putting the comfort of illegal aliens over their own citizens' safety. She's basically telling these sanctuary jurisdictions that their days of playing hide-and-seek with federal law enforcement are numbered. Trump's border czar Tom Homan jumped into the fray too, particularly calling out Chicago for what he claims is essentially teaching people how to dodge ICE. He's not buying their Know Your Rights programs, calling them more like how to escape arrest tutorials. DOJ officials are making it clear, this is just the first punch in what's shaping up to be a nationwide crackdown. They're gearing up with what they're calling an all-hands-on-deck approach, and they're not shy about saying this fight could go all the way to the Supreme Court. Well, folks, Ukraine's President Zelensky just dropped quite the bombshell in the ongoing NATO membership saga. If the U.S. can't fast-track Ukraine into NATO, he's suggesting a rather explosive alternative, bringing back nuclear weapons to Ukraine. Talk about raising the stakes. But hold on to your hats, because Trump's special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, was quick to pour cold water on that idea. In his words, the chances of Ukraine getting nuclear weapons back are somewhere between slim and none. And let's be real here, he's not exactly being subtle about where this administration stands. Now, for those of you who need a quick history refresher, back in 1994, after the Soviet Union's collapse, Ukraine handed over its nuclear arsenal to Russia. They got promises from Russia, the US, and the UK that their sovereignty would be respected. We all know how well that worked out, given Russia's repeated invasions. Zelensky has confirmed he's willing to sit down face-to-face with Putin to end this war, though Putin hasn't exactly been rushing to RSVP. Meanwhile, President Trump has said initial talks with both sides are already underway, with Kellogg confirming that everyone's going to need to make some compromises to get this deal done. Speaking of deals, Kellogg is heading to the Munich Security Conference next week to get a better read on where our allies stand. He'll be meeting with leaders from the UK, Germany, Denmark, and other major Ukraine supporters to figure out what concessions might actually work. The administration's keeping their cards close to their chest on the specifics, especially regarding that hot-button NATO membership issue. But one thing's crystal clear, nuclear weapons are definitely not on the table. As Kellogg put it, they're using common sense on this one. And sometimes you've got to look at the potential outcomes before making these kinds of decisions. In what might be the most concerning tech story of the week, security researchers have uncovered some pretty alarming details about DeepSeek, that Chinese AI chatbot that's been topping the US download charts. Turns out there might be more under the hood than we bargained for. Canadian cybersecurity company Faroot Security discovered that DeepSeek's website contains some heavily disguised computer code that links directly to China Mobile, a state-owned telecom company that's actually banned from operating in the US due to national security concerns. And yes, you heard that right. This is the same China Mobile that our government has identified as having close ties to the Chinese military. Now, DeepSeek has already admitted they store data on servers in China, but this connection to China Mobile suggests the ties to the Chinese state run even deeper than we thought. The really wild part? This code appears to be part of the process when users create accounts and log in. Think about what this means, folks. We're not just talking about sharing cat videos or dance moves here. People are feeding these AI chatbots everything from business secrets to personal information. As Ivan Sarany, Faroot's CEO, puts it, it's mind-boggling that we're potentially allowing China to survey Americans without batting an eye. Former NSA official Stuart Baker really drove the point home when he said this raises all the TikTok concerns and then some. Because let's face it, what people are sharing with AI chatbots is likely far more sensitive than anything they're posting on social media. The researchers couldn't confirm if data is actually being transferred to China Mobile, at least not for North American users. But here's the kicker. The code is definitely there, sitting like a dormant switch that could potentially be flipped on at any time. And while they only looked at the web version, that mobile app that everyone's downloading, that's still a big question mark. Remember, folks, in this digital age, data is the new gold. And when you're handing over your digital gold to a company with potential ties to a foreign government, well, let's just say that's something worth thinking twice about. And that wraps up today's wild ride through the headlines, folks. We covered some major stories today. From the Trump administration throwing down the gauntlet against sanctuary cities with AG Pam Bondi leading the charge, to Zelensky floating that eyebrow-raising nuclear option, and of course that unsettling revelation about DeepSeek's potential backdoor to Beijing. It just goes to show that in today's world, whether we're talking immigration enforcement, international diplomacy, or the AI apps on your phone, nothing is quite as simple as it seems. Stay informed and stay skeptical, my friends. For all the latest updates and our full archive of episodes, head over to rantingpolitics.com. You can also follow us on X at rantingrp for real-time commentary and behind-the-scenes content. This is JOC signing off, and thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics headline updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.